Welcome to Spectrum News at 4. I am Rita Inong coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at the headlines. The National Council approves Tinubu'S nominee Amupitan as new Inec chairman. The federal government orders institutions to submit reports of unused TED fund allocations. Plus, China tightens export rules for crucial rare earth metals. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned. We begin the news this hour from the national scene where the National Council of State has approved the nomination of Professor Joash Ojo, SAN, as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Inec. This was disclosed in a statement by the Special Assistant of the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, today. He said President Bola Tinubu presented Amupitan as the nominee to fill the vacant position following Professor Mahmoud Yakubu's exit, who served from 2015 until October 2025. And in the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has warned marginal oil field license holders in Nigeria without capacity to look for something else to do instead of wasting their time in the country's oil and gas industry. He made this known during the commissioning of the $400 million Green Energy International Limited crude oil export and terminal in Otai-Kikwo, Rivers State on Wednesday. Tinubu, represented by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Senator Enikin Olokobiri, noted that the marginal oil field license holders must meet all obligations expected of them. Tinubu earlier stated that GL's $400 million crude oil export terminal in the Niger Delta region would unlock billions of barrels of reserves and create value for the economy. Away from that, the federal government has ordered tertiary institutions to submit reports of intervention funds from the Tertiary Education Trust Fund that remain unutilized within the next 30 days. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, gave the directive in Abuja today during a meeting with the heads of institutions. Alausa noted that the ministry has been faced with a dilemma over the issue of allocations that are not being put into good use. He stated that resources that could have been used to develop infrastructure in institutions have remained idle due to bottlenecks. The minister also announced that capacity building programs would be introduced to strengthen project management, compliance, and reporting alongside mentorship initiatives. In another development, the Federal Capital Territory Police Command has arrested 12 suspected armed robbers linked to the killing of a journalist, Somto Chukwu Maduagu, and a security guard, Barnabas Danlami, during a robbery attack in Abuja. Reports say the arrest followed an operation led by Scorpion Squad under the FCT command based on intelligence provided by a forensics firm. According to the report, the Commissioner of Police FCT command ordered a manhunt for the suspects after the 29 September attack at the Unique apartment in Gishiri Village, Katangbe district. According to the report, 12 suspects were arrested in connection with the incident. They include Shamsuddin Hassan, Hassan Isa, Abubakar Al-Kamu, Sanu Sarajo, Mashku Jamilu, Suleiman Badamosi, Abdul Saleh, Zahara Din Mohammed, Musa Adamu, Sumaya Mohammed, Isa Abdurrahman, and Musa Umar. In a separate development, members of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and those of the Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU, have protested at the University of Abuja main campus. The protest is part of the nationwide action decided upon by the Joint Action Committee, JAC, of the two unions at the expiration of a two-week ultimatum they gave the federal government to address their demands, which were mainly welfare matters. The protesting university workers are demanding, among other things, the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement with the federal government, immediate payment of 25 and 35% salary increment, and the immediate payment of all withheld salaries. And back here, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoino, who has signed into law the 695 billion naira supplementary budget passed by the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. The signing took place during the October edition of the state's project delivery meeting held at the Government House, Uyo. Speaking shortly after the signing of the budget, Governor Oino expressed appreciation to the Speaker and members of the House of Assembly for the speedy passage of the supplementary appropriation bill. He reaffirmed his administration commitment to transparency, accountability, and people-centered governance. In a move to accelerate project execution, the governor also released the sum of 60 billion naira to contractors whose interim payment certificates, IPCs, were ready and charged heads of ministries, departments, and agencies, along with delivery advisors to ensure strict adherence to project timelines and standards. Meanwhile, in his remarks, the Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Elder Udeme Otong, lauded the governor for his inclusive leadership style and innovative governance approach. He appreciated the governor for the ongoing renovation of the Assembly complex and pledged continued legislative collaboration with the executive arm of government. Government House correspondent Jane Uwa reports that on their part, some stakeholders who spoke commended Governor Omoino's commitment to effective service delivery, fiscal prudence, and the accelerated development of Akwa Ibom State, pledging their continued support to the governor as the leader of APC and Team Akwa Ibom United. And in the meantime, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoino has expressed satisfaction with the pace and quality of ongoing work at the construction site of the Ibom International Hotel, which he described as a state-of-the-art facility designed to meet global standards. Interacting with Government House correspondents shortly after inspecting the 14th-floor facility located along the state's shopping city corridor, Governor Oino commended the contractor for their dedication to work and urged them to adhere to the project's delivery timeline.
I think you should be able to ask the man, all I want is let's keep to the dates. So let's make him make commitments to the date. But I think he's doing well. You know, sometimes to fix something that was abandoned might be much more difficult than to start something from the scratch. From what I see, I believe he's making efforts. You can see for yourself. And I just want us to keep to the timelines.
On his part, the contractor, engineer Samir Samara of Ratcon Construction Company Limited, while appreciating the state government for providing the necessary resources, assured the project would be ready for commissioning as scheduled. Government House correspondent Jane Uwa reports that the Ibom International Hotel is a 200-bedroom facility designed to complement the state's International Convention Center and the shopping city, which are geared towards boosting the state's tourism assets.
Our tour, our technical tour, our finishing tour to inspect the mock-up apartment, the mock-up bedroom with all the necessary amenities of the hotel. We are keeping our word to deliver in June, end of June, the hotel. All the materials are already procured and are on the way to Akwa Ibom. So every month there will be a lot of improvement. By God's grace, we are keeping forward to target the timeline. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your visit. Thank you for your support, because really, without your support and without encouraging such type of engineering quality and construction, we will have failed.
And moving now to Africa, where the World Health Organization, WHO, says an Ebola outbreak that has plagued southern Congo in recent weeks is starting to be contained, with no new cases reported since the UN Health Agency last update on the 1st of October. The agency said during a news conference that a total of 64 cases, including 53 confirmed and 11 probable, have been reported in Congo's Kasai province as of October 5th. WHO also reported 43 deaths, including 32 confirmed and 11 probable. The agency, however, advised caution as almost 2,000 contacts with people who may have been exposed to the disease are being monitored, and a single missed contact could reignite transmission chains, especially in areas with high population movement. And still in Africa, Ethiopia has accused Eritrea of preparing to wage war against it in collusion with an opposition grouping, in the latest sign of escalating tensions between two neighbors over control of the Red Sea. Ethiopia's accusation is contained in a letter sent by its foreign minister, Gideon Tinubu'S, to the UN chief, Antonio Guterres, warning that the collusion might become more evident over the past months. Eritrea has not yet commented on the letter, but its relationship with Ethiopia has become increasingly strained in the recent months. Ethiopia has been rallying support to regain access to the Red Sea, causing alarm in Eritrea as it took control of the coastline at independence in 1993. On the foreign scene, China has tightened export controls on rare earth and other materials critical for advanced tech manufacturing as trade negotiations continue with the U.S. It processes around 90% of the world's rare earth, which go into everything from solar panels to smartphones, a key bargaining chip ahead of an unexpected meeting between Chinese leader Xi Jinping and the U.S. counterpart Donald Trump this month. Recall that Beijing had already restricted processing technology and unauthorized overseas cooperation, but today's announcement formalized the rules. Foreign companies now need the Chinese government's approval to export products with even small amounts of rare earth and must explain their intended use. And still on the foreign scene, Israel and Hamas today agreed to a Gaza ceasefire deal to free the remaining living hostages in a major step towards ending the war that has left tens of thousands of people killed and unleashed a humanitarian catastrophe. The agreement, which follows a 20-point peace plan for Gaza, announced last month by U.S. President Donald Trump, is to be signed today in Egypt and calls for Israel to release hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Under the deal, there will be a surge of aid into Gaza after more than 2 years of war started by Hamas's unprecedented October 2023 attack on Israel. The Israeli army said it was preparing to pull back troops in Gaza as part of the deal. Further down the line, Trump's plan also calls for the disarmament of Hamas and for Gaza to be ruled by a transitional authority headed by the U.S. president himself, though his point has yet to be addressed. And still to come in the news. Super Eagles AFCON 2025 camp to open December 10th. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more in a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned and welcome back to Spectrum News on the Hour. On our business news, the World Bank has said despite the economic reforms of the federal government, 139 million Nigerians still live in poverty. The World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Matthew Verges, stated this at the launch of the Nigerian Development Update Report in Abuja, the nation's capital. Verges commended the government for taking some steps in stabilizing the economy through recent policy reforms. He, however, warned that the more needs to be done to ensure better living standards for Nigerians. The country director also raised concerns over the nation's food inflation rate, increased allocations from the Federal Account Allocation Committee, and what he calls a shock-responsive safety net system to help households manage crisis. And still in business, the Senate has confirmed that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) has submitted responses to 19 audit queries concerning an unaccounted 210 trillion naira covering financial years 2017 to 2023. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Public Accounts, Senator Aliyu Wadada, Nasarawa West, who made the disclosure, explained that although the NNPCL has responded to the committee's questions, the Senate has yet to critically examine the submissions. The queries relate in the audited accounts of the National Oil Company, which the Senate has described as lacking transparency. Recall that the committee has issued a 3-week deadline to NNPCL's Chief Executive Officer, Bayo Ojulari, on July 29th to provide answers regarding the 210 trillion naira flagged in audit reports. In health, a federal high court in Abuja has granted a week's extension to the medical panel set up by the president of the Nigerian Medical Association to assess the health status of detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. The time extension is meant to enable the panel to conclude its assignment. The extension of time became necessary owing to the panel's inability to conclude its assignment within the 8 days allocated to it by the court. Recall that in a ruling on September 26, Justice James Omotosho ordered the NMA president to, among others, set up a team of medical experts to examine Kanu's health status and ascertain whether or not he is fit to undergo his ongoing terrorism trial. And still in health, the national president of the Association of Dental Technologists of Nigeria, Dr. Eyaefe Stephen, has called for increased investment, innovation and policy reforms to transform dental technology education and practice in Nigeria. Speaking at the 37th Scientific Conference and Annual General Meeting of the association held in Gombe State on Wednesday, Eyaefe said that the time has come for stakeholders to reimagine the profession through technology, improved training and stronger government support. The 3-day conference themed Transforming Dental Technology Education and Practice in Nigeria, Challenges, Opportunities and Innovations drew participants from across the country, including students, professionals and health policy makers. To sports now, where the Super Eagles training camp for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations will reportedly open on December 10. According to reports, the Super Eagles will converge on the date to kick-start their preparation for Africa's biggest football competition. The venue for the camping exercise is yet to be decided by the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF). Eric Shell's side are drawn in Group D, along with Tunisia, Uganda and Tanzania. The Super Eagles will begin their campaign against Tanzania in FEZ on December 23rd. Meanwhile, the competition will kick off on December 21st in Morocco. And still in sport, Women's Super League leaders Chelsea have won both the Player and Manager of the Month awards for September. Chelsea's Aggie Beaver-Jones is the WSL Player of the Month after scoring in all 4 of their games. The England forward opened the scoring in wins against Manchester City, Aston Villa, Leicester City and West Ham United. The 22-year-old topped a shortlist which also featured Aoba Fujino, Alessia Russo, Anna Sandberg, Macy Simons and Katinka Tanberg. On our entertainment news, Laszlo Krasznahorkai has won this year's Nobel Prize in Literature. The Hungarian author has been recognized for his compelling and visionary oeuvre that, in the midst of apocalyptic terror, reaffirms the power of art. He has written 5 novels and won numerous other literary prizes, including the 2015 Man Booker International Prize and the 2013 Best Translated Book Award in Fiction for his first novel, Santan Tango, a postmodern work about the end of the world. And that's all we have for you on the news at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Rita Inung. Enjoy the rest of your day.